Witness how hollow your hope rings. No. We can't let this go on.
So here's the thing. JRPGs takes us into battles with oversized swords and flashy spells, but also they pull you into worlds where the story hits just as hard as the boss fights. We've all been there, stuck at 3 AM, because some plot twist made us yell at the screen. And honestly, that's the magic. In this list, we're diving into 13 JRPGs that deliver unforgettable tales, some heartbreaking, some inspiring, and all brilliantly written. Buckle up, because these are the ones you'll never shake off. Chrono Trigger. First off, we have got a tale where time itself becomes your playground and your battlefield. Back in 1995, Square released what would become one of the most beloved RPGs of all time. And honestly, I still get goosebumps remembering my first playthrough. The plot kicks off in 1000 AD with Chrono, a silent protagonist who just wanted to enjoy a fair, but ends up hurtling across eras, from prehistoric dinosaur wars to the doomed far future, trying to stop Lavos, an alien parasite that literally feeds on the planet's life force. I mean, the thing that really makes this story shine is how your actions ripple across centuries, shaping kingdoms, friendships, and even fate itself. With multiple endings, 12 on the original, 13 on DS and beyond, you're saving the world and you're shaping its history. Now, coming to the gameplay, which mixes visible enemy encounters with an active time battle system that encourages strategy through double and triple techs, letting you combine party abilities for devastating effects. And when I say experimentation feels rewarding, trust me, we've all grinned watching Chrono's Cyclone fuse with Luca's flames. The New Game Plus option also set a trend, letting you re-experience the story with powered-up characters. It's no wonder this gem has been ported across consoles, handhelds, and even mobile, because stories this intricate simply don't age. Final Fantasy VI. And speaking of unforgettable journeys, let's roll back to 1994, when Square dropped a game that dared to go darker than anything we'd seen in the franchise up to that point. Directed by Yoshinori Kitase and Hiroyuki Ito, instead of Hironobu Sakaguchi, this entry also carried the unmistakable art of Yoshitaka Amano and the sweeping score of Nobuo Uematsu. The result? A steampunk-tinged epic that still sits near the top of many RPG rankings. The story introduces us to Terra, a half-human, half-Esper girl enslaved by the Empire, who gradually discovers her own identity while joining the rebel faction known as the Returners. From poisoned kingdoms to shattered loyalties, the plot shifts into full apocalypse when Kefka Palazzo, arguably one of the most chaotic villains in gaming, destroys the balance of magic, literally transforming the world into ruin. Those who've played this will never forget the first time we realized the game wasn't ending halfway through, but starting over in a completely broken world. We get traditional overworld exploration with the active time battle system, giving each of the 14 permanent characters new skills, from Locke's thieving to Seals's runic ability. The introduction of Espers and Magicite adds deep customization, letting characters learn spells and even summon gods mid-battle. Side quests and branching character arcs tie everything together, making the journey as much about redemption and rebuilding as about saving the world itself. Xenogears. Now, if we're talking ambitious JRPG storytelling, nothing quite swings for the fences like this late 90s PlayStation gem. Released in 1998 by Square, it began life as a rejected Final Fantasy VII concept before Tetsuya Takahashi and Kaori Tanaka shaped it into its own science fiction saga. With Kunihiko Tanaka's character art, Junya Ishigaki's mech designs, and Production YG's anime cutscenes, the presentation alone felt like a different level for the era. The storyline follows Fei Fong Wong, a young man with amnesia whose life is upended when he accidentally destroys his own village piloting a gear. Then it unravels, a rebellion against Solaris, the ruling technocratic empire. It's a layered meditation on reincarnation, free will, and humanity's relationship to divinity. The plot combines Jungian psychology, Gnostic imagery, and even Freud into an epic spanning ancient civilizations, shadow governments, and the cosmic weapon known as Deus. We all were floored when the game revealed Fei's fractured identity and his connection to the mysterious id. Gameplay splits between hand-to-hand martial arts combos and towering gear battles powered by fuel management and death blow systems. Despite Disc 2's reliance on narration due to development limits, the scale of its story and world building has cemented Xenogears as one of the boldest RPGs ever attempted.
I mean, tomorrow.
Promise?
Promise.
Final Fantasy X. Jumping forward a few years into the PS2 era, we hit a turning point where RPGs embraced full 3D worlds and voice acting for the first time in the series. Released in 2001, this entry introduced the Conditional Turn-Based Battle (CTB) system, which gave players a timeline of turns to strategize without the pressure of real-time ticking down. For me, the overhaul of summoning, where Aeons fought alongside you as full party replacements, felt like one of the most exciting changes in the franchise. The story unfolds in Spira, a world tormented by the cyclical destruction of sin, a colossal entity tied to the people's own faith and mistakes. You play as Tidus, a blitzball star from Zanarkand, who's ripped into this world only to discover his father Yecht is bound to sin's identity. His path intertwines with Yuna, a young summoner tasked with sacrificing herself to defeat sin, and together with their guardians, Lulu, Waka, Auron, Kimari, and later Riku, they set out on a pilgrimage that slowly reveals the devastating truth behind Yevon's teachings. The moment when Tidus realizes he's just a dream of the faith is still one of the most emotional gut punches I've had in gaming. Add in the sphere grid for deep character customization, the unforgettable Blitzball minigame, and Masashi Hamauzu and Nobuo Uematsu's haunting soundtrack, and you've got a JRPG that redefined cinematic storytelling.
Or some kind of punishment? I often think about the god who blessed us with this cryptic puzzle.
Nier Automata. By the time we got to 2017, Square Enix and Platinum Games proved that a JRPG could be both a philosophical essay and a slick action spectacle rolled into one. The story is set in the year 1945 AD, long after humanity has gone extinct, though androids still fight in their name. You step into the shoes of 2B, a stoic Yoraha combat android, alongside the inquisitive 9S, and later the rogue A2. Their war against alien-built machines slowly unravels into a meditation on meaning, free will, and cycles of violence. Across multiple playthroughs, you discover secrets about humanity's fate, the machine's evolving consciousness, and the tragic truths binding 2B and 9S together. Few games toy with narrative perspective as brilliantly, and I have to admit, by the third arc, I was both emotionally invested and existentially unsettled. On the gameplay side, Platinum's hack-and-slash combat shines with fluid weapon swapping, aerial juggles, and pod support fire. With the genre-bending shifts, top-down shooters, text adventures, side-scrollers, and the experience never stagnates. Character progression relies on customizable plug-in chips, while the 26 endings, 5 core, many joke or alternate, keep replayability high. With Keiichi Okabe's haunting score and Yoko Taro's signature mix of absurdity and tragedy, this game carved out a permanent place as one of the most daring JRPG stories ever told. Dragon Quest V. Now here's a JRPG that doesn't just hand you a hero's journey, but literally makes you live an entire life. Back in 1992, Chunsoft developed this landmark entry for the Super Famicom, with Enix publishing it as the second part of the Zenithian trilogy. The entire hook here is how the story doesn't end with saving the world. It covers your childhood, your enslavement, your marriage, and even your children carrying on your legacy. Few RPGs dared to stretch time across 3 decades the way this one did. You start off as a boy traveling with your father Pancraz, only to watch him tragically die protecting you. Years of slavery follow before freedom sets you on a path to uncover your lineage. Along the way, the game pulls one of the boldest moves in RPG history. It asks you to choose who to marry, Bianca, Nier, or Deborah in the DS version, changing the dynamics of your journey. Later, your children aren't just story props. Your son becomes the long-awaited legendary hero, destined to wield Zenithian gear. I'll be honest, the generational weight of that twist still sticks with me. This entry introduced monster recruitment, letting defeated foes like slimes or saber-cats join your party and fight alongside you, a system that inspired spin-offs and influenced Pokemon later. Combine that with classic first-person turn-based battles, party wagons, and a bonus dungeon, and you've got a timeless RPG that blends innovation with heartfelt storytelling.
Then 2 great titans came into existence.
Xenoblade Chronicles. After following a generational saga in the last game, we now leap onto the frozen corpses of 2 titans. Yes, an entire world built on their lifeless bodies. That's the stage for Monolith Soft's 2010 epic, originally launched on the Wii in Japan, and only later brought west thanks to the Operation Rainfall fan campaign. We can all agree on one thing. How the heck did Nintendo almost pass on this? You play as Shulk, a young mechanic from Colony 9, whose life flips upside down when his home is attacked by the mechanical Mechon. Wielding the mysterious Monado, a blade that grants visions of the future, he sets out first on revenge, but soon gets pulled into a tale of gods, destiny, and ultimately a philosophical debate about free will itself. Few JRPGs dare to reach this kind of thematic height, and the twist about Zanza's true nature. Still legendary. Gameplay is just as groundbreaking. Real-time battles blend MMO-style auto-attacks with timed arts, aggro management, and Shulk's visions that let you counter deadly moves before they land. Toss in massive open zones, day-night cycles, hundreds of quests, and the affinity system deepening party bonds, and you've got a JRPG that felt decades ahead.
Once upon a time, there existed a giant tree that was the source of mana.
Tales of Symphonia. And speaking of worlds tied together by fate, here's a game that literally makes you juggle 2 of them. Released on the GameCube in 2003-2004 for the West, Tales of Symphonia was the 5th entry in Namco's beloved series, and the first to jump into full 3D. And trust me people, this was the system seller for the GameCube. you step into the shoes of Lloyd Irving, a hot-headed swordsman who joins his childhood friend Colette on her pilgrimage to save their dying world, Sylvarant. What nobody expects is that regenerating mana here drains it from a parallel world, Tether Allah, throwing the party into a moral conflict bigger than themselves. Betrayals, ancient secrets, and some of the best "wait, what?" twists in JRPG history keep the story running at full throttle. Combat is real-time thanks to the multi-line linear motion battle system. Picture frantic combos, unison attacks that unleash devastating team finishes, and customization through EX gems shaping how each character evolves. Between overworld exploration, skits deepening character bonds, and even cooking mechanics, Symphonia felt massive. No wonder it sold millions, spawned manga, anime, sequels, and even a recent remaster. Persona 4. Sliding from the last game into this one, we've got a small-town murder mystery that hides a lot more than fog and rain. You step into the shoes of a high schooler who's just moved to Inaba, only to find bodies appearing in bizarre circumstances and rumours of a midnight channel that predicts victims. This curiosity quickly turns into a life-or-death investigation with your new friends, who, like you, discover the power to summon personas, mythological manifestations of the psyche. Gameplay here cleverly splits between dungeon crawling in the TV world and day-to-day life in the countryside. We get to study, hang with friends, join clubs, and build social links that not only deepen bonds, but strengthen your combat potential. But here's the deal. Fail to rescue victims before the fog rolls in, and it's game over. Combat itself is turn-based, rewarding clever exploitation of enemy weaknesses and team coordination, with stylish all-out attacks punctuating battles. Originally a 2008 PS2 release, Persona 4 later evolved into Persona 4 Golden on Vita and beyond, adding new characters, events, and an expanded ending. It's easily one of the finest JRPG narratives ever crafted. Suikoden II. Jumping from the last epic into this one, let's talk about a JRPG that taught us friendship can hurt as much as war itself. Released in Japan in 1998 for the PlayStation, Suikoden II barely made any name for itself at first, overshadowed by flashy 3D titles. But time has been incredibly kind to it, and today it's hailed as one of the finest JRPG stories ever written. The heart of the tale is Ryu, his sister Nanami, and his best friend Joey. This story of brotherhood quickly spirals into betrayal when both boys inherit halves of the Rune of the Beginning, a true rune that essentially binds them to tragic destiny. Ryu builds an army to oppose the ruthless Highland prince Luca Blight, whose cruelty defines some of the darkest moments in JRPG history. And trust me, you'll never forget the sheer brutality of facing Luca. Gameplay keeps things fresh with 3 formats: traditional 6-person turn-based battles, strategic army clashes, and tense one-on-one duels where dialogue hints guide your choices. Recruiting allies, sometimes through quirky side quests, becomes addictive, and I loved how even minor characters had personality. For me, the emotional punch of Ryu and Joey's story is what cements Suikoden II as unforgettable. Mother 3. Now, if the last game tugged at your heart, this one will absolutely wreck it. Released in 2006 for the Game Boy Advance, Mother 3 had one of the most turbulent development cycles in JRPG history. 12 long years, 4 consoles, and even a cancellation before it was reborn on Nintendo's handheld. I remember how close we were to never experiencing Lucas's journey. The story begins quietly in the Nowhere Islands, with twins Lucas and Claus, their parents, and a peaceful village. But that calm is shattered when the Pigmask army invades, bringing fire, machines, and tragedy. Lucas's mother dies protecting her sons, Claus disappears in revenge, and the world slowly descends into tyranny and manipulation. What follows is a tale of rebellion, grief, and hope, as Lucas, his dog Boney, Thief Duster, and Princess Kumatora fight to awaken the dragon sealed beneath the islands. The final revelation about Claus still lingers with me. It's one of the most devastating endings in RPG storytelling. This game is a traditional turn-based combat with a rolling HP system and a rhythmic combo mechanic tied to battle music. Toss in quirky details like saving with frogs or healing in hot springs, and you've got a game that balances charm with heartbreak.
That's the way of our world. Ionios. Tell me, what would possess you to side with them?
Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Okay, so speaking of JRPGs that throw you into sprawling worlds, this one doesn't just give you scale, it gives you a war-torn nightmare. Released in 2022 for the Nintendo Switch, Monolith Soft's Xenoblade Chronicles 3 closes out the trilogy by merging the futures of the first two games. I remember booting it up for the first time and just staring at how massive Ionios felt. It's easily the biggest map in the series. The premise is brutal. Two nations, Kiev and Agnes, force child soldiers into endless conflict, each with lifespans capped at 10 years. Our core six, Noah, Lance, Uni, Mio, Tyon, and Sina, should have been sworn enemies. Instead, they're thrust together by the Ouroboros power, fusing into giant invincible forms to unravel why the world is stuck in an endless cycle of death. And trust me, the twists involving clones, false queens, and Moebius's obsession with the endless now are pure storytelling gold. Gameplay doesn't hold back either. 7 party members at once, heroes to recruit, fluid class swapping, and the flashy interlink system that makes Ouroboros transformations a constant risk-reward decision. Toss in chain attacks that can melt bosses in seconds, and you've got a JRPG that's equal parts emotional gut punch and mechanical playground. Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together. Sliding over from sprawling epics to tactical intensity, here's one that shaped the entire genre. Developed by Quest Corporation and released on the Super Famicom, Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together took Yasumi Matsuno's vision of political drama and built a game that feels more like navigating a medieval history textbook than a simple fantasy adventure. Still feels wild, realizing this was less about heroes and more about messy human choices. The story drops you into Valeria, a kingdom ripped apart by ethnic conflict. You play Denim Powell alongside his sister Katua and childhood friend Vice as they fight for survival in a war where no decision is clean. Branching routes, law, chaos, or neutral, push you into making gut-wrenching calls. Do you follow orders and commit atrocities, or rebel and fracture your allies? The outcomes alter the dialogue. They change who lives, who dies, and who rules. On the field, battles unfold on grid-based maps where positioning, class skills, terrain, and even weather decide your fate. With a maximum of 10 units in play, tactical depth runs deep. What actually blows you away is how personal every recruit felt, making every loss sting. It's no wonder this game paved the way for Final Fantasy Tactics. And that's the roundup. 13 JRPGs with stories so good they'll stick in your head long after the credits roll. Honestly, we could have added way more, but we'd be here all day. Now it's your turn. What's the one JRPG story that absolutely floored you but didn't make this list? Drop it in the comments, because I'm always looking for another reason to lose sleep over pixelated heartbreak. And hey, if you enjoyed the ride, hit like and subscribe. We've got plenty more worlds to explore together.
Now, kids, you share a common destiny. They'll hunt you constantly, relentlessly, without rest. There's one place that might give you a chance.